All right, so we are back with finishing up, setting up our NMR. So the first thing you might notice is that the go button shows back up again. Do not touch it again because that means it's going to run one more time. So I'm going to shut this down and we're going to run a sample manually. So I've got my NMR sample set up. I got set this up. There's a video separately for that. And I'm going to go ahead and take out that sample that standard, and I'm going to put it back into the carousel. So let it sit nicely into the carousel. And I'm going to take my sample that I've set up and I'm going to insert it in the probe. So we're going to first run our samples manually. There are two different NMR tubes. There are longer ones and shorter ones. The shorter ones can be run manually, so I'd recommend the shorter ones for the manual. But the longer tubes, we need to run automatically. We want to run automatically. They have to be the long tubes. So the long tubes, if you need those, we have a stash of them, but don't confuse them or mix them up. The shorter tube cannot be run with the carousel. So we're going to run our sample. For this sample, we're going to run a proton NMR automatically. And there are a couple of ways that we can run samples automatically. If I go to SpinFlow and I go under Quick, I can do a fast, standard, or custom proton NMR, and I can do some other samples. So I'm going to go to Custom, and I'm going to run my sample 32 scans, and it will tell me that's going to take 10 minutes, or if I want to run 16 scans, you'll see the estimated time is 5 minutes, or let's say I wanted to run myself 8 scans, it will take 2 minutes. So the more scans, the better the resolution, so it's kind of up to you what you want to do or what you need to do. You can also change some parameters like the relaxation time. If you know that there's a way of figuring that out, that would actually be better. But for this, I don't know what it is. We go under Custom, Standard, or Fast, whichever one seems to fit what you want. After your sample is in, then we need to tell it how many scans we want to do this. So I'm going to scan this 32 times, and you can see it's going to take me about 10 minutes. So what I need to do next is I need to tell it where I want my files. So I'm going to select a folder, and if I go under the data, I'm going to find the folder I want it. So I want this to be under DBL, and I'm going to select that folder, and then I need to change the sample name. So I'm going to change this to whatever you need to name it because it's going to make a folder for you. So if you are in a class, you should name your file with a class name. So I'm going to name my folder, my file CHE 2254, and this was unit 4. This is, so I'm going to put my initials. And the sample was called Salofen 3, so that's what I'm going to put all that information so that I know what it is and I have no question. So I'm going to run my sample, so I'm going to hit go. And what you'll see is the FID will pop up. And when the FID pops up, you'll see it eventually change. So we're going to actually fast forward through this fairly quickly once it pops up. But first it needs to lock. Then it needs to run the sample.